This turtleneck was a Christmas present from my parents last year, but I don't think I've ever worn it on camera because I don't wear it as much as I thought I would. It was on my wish list. I did pick it. It's just a really stretchy black turtleneck with this cute dinosaur like iron-on decal on it. But the dinosaur is weirdly placed. It's like basically in my armpit, and that's the reason why I almost never wear it. I feel like it should be over here or something, but it's like over here. Hey y'all, welcome to my long-awaited video about how I spent my budget in November. It's gonna be a banger. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Hannah. I love beautiful things, but I don't love overspending for myself, so I budget. I did a no-buy year in 2018 to break myself of pretty much a lifelong habit of spending too much on beautiful things. And then since then, I've been budgeting. So I report back every month about how I spent that budget. This is that video for November 2020. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of it. Before we actually get into the meat of the video, there is something I need to tell you. I have mentioned it in 2 videos already, but I'm taking this 6-week course. It's like an immersion in compassion, a compassion immersion course run by an absolutely brilliant woman who I have known for quite a while, but she's been doing this kind of thing for a long time and I've never done it. I've never signed up for one of her classes. I said in a video, I think Saturday's video, the first class was this past Sunday. And on Saturday, I was like, the deadline is now because the first class is tomorrow and after it passes, it'll be too late to sign up. But I was wrong about that. It's actually Tuesday, which I think when this video goes up should be tomorrow. Tuesday at noon PST is actually the deadline. So if you're interested in the Compassion Immersion course and you missed it or you thought that it was too late to sign up, you can still sign up and then you can just listen to the first class because it was recorded and then you'll be all caught up and you can come through the rest of the 5 weeks with us. A few of you have already signed up. Some of you are like in the class with me, which is so exciting and really like encouraging and comforting to see your names in there. And the first class was mind-blowing. Like I'm so relieved and excited to be in there. So all the information about that will be down below. Now let's get into the meat of the video about how I spent my budget. I think you should watch the video from last month though, because I basically spilled all the beans about how I was going to spend my budget in November in the video about how I spent my budget in October. Because at the beginning of November, I had barely spent anything in October, and that's kind of like the name of the game. I went pretty much from March through to the beginning of November, only spending a tiny bit of my budget every month, and then I had several $100s left. And by the end of October, I had pretty much decided to spend it all at once, and I had already decided what I was going to spend it on. But I hadn't quite pulled the trigger on everything yet, so I couldn't actually report back that I'd officially spent it. But because I didn't have anything else really to talk about in that video about October, I kind of talked about it. So I'm gonna try not to repeat myself too much. I'm just gonna like let you know how it's been going because I did buy almost everything. No, everything. I bought everything at the beginning of November. So I've pretty much been on a no-buy since the beginning of November. It's been over a month now that I have had no budget left and I haven't been shopping and I haven't bought anything. What I'll say, and actually I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this. I'll put it right here at the beginning of the video and then we'll get into the items because I mean the items, I know everyone wants to know about the items, but I feel like this is the most interesting thing. I did almost break my, I mean, I say I almost did, but I think the truth is that I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have, but I was sorely tempted to break my vow to myself that I wouldn't spend beyond my budget this year on myself and that I wouldn't borrow back from my 2021 budget because it's getting close to the end of the year. So this little voice is like, January's almost like you could just borrow from January's budget, you know? But I don't want to do that and I don't want to spend more than my budget. And so far I haven't. I wanted to buy something and the fact that I was tempted to buy it meant that I was tempted to break this contract I've made with myself. And it's really particularly interesting because it's seasonal. It has to do with the fact that I was buying gifts for my friends and family. I decided to buy some incredibly beautiful printed cotton pajamas for a couple of my family members. I don't think any of my family members watch this channel, so I can just tell you, the brand is called Print Fresh. They've been on my radar for a while because they sent some pajamas to my friend Simbri. Sadie just interrupted me while I was talking because she wanted to come in. The sliding glass doors were closed and she was like sticking her little paw through the crack trying to come in. And, you know, I acquiesced to get up and let her in, but that means she has to make an appearance on camera. So I was talking about the pajama brand. I decided to buy some pajamas for some of my family, and I was placing one big order for some pairs of pajamas from the brand Print Fresh, which I know about because my friend Simbri found out about them. I think that they sent her some PR, and she knew that I would love them, so she was like, "You should check out Fresh." And I clicked through, and indeed, it seems like the entire brand was like plucked from my dreams. They're so incredibly amazing. I didn't need more pajamas. I'm kind of a pajama minimalist. If you've really been following me closely, you know this. I didn't really have any pajamas at the beginning of the year. And then one of the things I did was to buy myself one set of silk pajamas, and I've just been like wearing them and wearing them and wearing them. But at some point in the middle of the year, Yes Style also sent me a couple of pairs of pajamas. So I actually currently have even more than the one pair that I thought I was going to be making do with. And I think that that's good. It comes as no surprise, perhaps, that I've been spending more time in my loungewear and my pajamas this year than I otherwise would have. But I really do feel like I'm all set. Otherwise, I might have actually bought some Print Fresh pajamas. It's kind of hard to say Print Fresh. Print Fresh. Print Fresh, Print Fresh, Print Fresh. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I think I might have bought some Print Fresh pajamas with my budget earlier in the year simply because they're so beautiful if I didn't feel like I was already all set. Of course, what I'm about to tell you kind of belies that I feel like I'm all set, but these are just the mysterious ways in which our desires move and our minds move, especially around the holidays and especially when we're like trying to budget, but there's that little part of us that's like, buy more stuff, spend more money. This is just to say I had already just decided that I was okay without a pair of incredibly beautiful additional pajamas this year, but I did decide to buy some for my family. So I was putting them in the cart, and guess what I put in the cart? A pair for myself. I put in some for myself. I was like, as long as I'm buying pajamas for everyone else, might as well just throw in some for myself. What's the difference? Well, the difference is the price of the pajamas, which is like $130 or something. It's not a thing. But when you're already buying, a number of pairs and it feels like you're placing a huge order, it's like the gate's open, the spending gate is open. What saved me is that I have made a really clear distinction between my spending gate that opens for me to buy gifts and my spending gate that opens for me to buy things for myself. It's no longer just money is money is money and stuff is stuff is stuff. I am specifically allowed to spend a certain amount on myself over the course of the year, and I've already spent it. So it didn't matter that the floodgates were opened, that I was spending money on my friends and family, that I was placing a bigger order from this pajama brand than I've placed from like anything ever. None of that mattered. I just was not allowed. I was just not authorized to include a pair for myself. But I had it in the cart for like a day while I was tailoring the cart to suit the needs, I hope, of my family. I was like, switching things out, making decisions, thinking about sizing and stuff. And the pair for myself was in there for like the whole day. And then when I got close to actually checking out, actually pulling the trigger, I took it out because I was like, I just can't, I actually just can't, it's not going to happen. But I wanted to share that with you because I think that is very common around the holidays. The fact that we're buying stuff for other people really, really can try our vows that we make with ourselves not to overspend and not to spend beyond our budgets. So I had that experience, but I prevailed. I did resist. I do have plenty of pajamas. I told myself that if I still really, really want them in the middle of January or something, I can just buy them with my budget next year. If I want them that badly, then they'll outstrip everything else next year when I'm trying to decide what I want to spend my budget on. Now let me tell you about my sweaters and dresses. So you guys know I had like the whole rest of my budget to spend. I was really into the idea. You guys who've watched the other video, I'm saying. If you haven't, then just go watch it. It's like the prequel to this video. I'll link it. It'll be linked at the very top of the description box. But in that video, I said that I was really into the idea of having like house dresses that you can just throw on and wear around the house, really compelled by the idea that a dress is in many ways like a simpler decision and easier, and in that way, practically a more casual outfit, like a casual decision. I've been made aware of this by watching my friend Julia. She wears a lot of dresses and she wears them in that way. And I didn't really have much of a complement of dresses that could be worn in that way. My dresses tend to be either like fancy occasion dresses, more delicate things I want to dry clean, so I'm not gonna like wear them around the house, or I don't have them. That's what my dresses tend to be. I didn't have very many the kinds of house dresses that I was sort of seeing Julia throw on and wear around and wash and wear and wash and wear. Things that hold up to stains and spills and to being washed several times, natural fibers, breathable, comfortable, not too fitted, and, you know, nothing that I would like not want to wear on certain days or certain times of the month. Just those all around great, basically like the dress version of a pair of pajamas. So I resolved to spend pretty much the entire rest of my budget on a dress or two that fit that description. And that's what I did. So I did indeed purchase the one that I had rented from Nuuly. And I did indeed purchase the Doen dress that I had my eye on. I have them right here. This is the Nuuly dress. I've already worn it several times on camera, and I actually already had it when I filmed that video, all my dresses in one video. I actually don't, I thought it was 100% cotton, but I think it's a blend. I think it has something in it that's like stiffening it and making it feel like incredibly sturdy, like almost bulletproof sturdy, which I really like. I think it might have a little bit of linen and maybe even a little bit of synthetic fiber, which isn't my favorite, but it does just feel like it's gonna last and be like bright and vibrant forever. It just feels like it's gonna be wearable and also like a delight to wear simply forever. And here's the Doen dress. It's also cotton. I've also already washed it and hung it to dry several times, and it's kept its shape, and it's also something I don't worry about staining because it's got this kind of pattern that I feel like, I mean, if I were to spill like a ton of coffee or wine on it, then I would want to rush to like put cold water on and soap on it and get that stain out. Just little things, like just a tiny bit of grease or a tiny spot or fleck of something. I don't worry about like eating a sandwich in this dress the way I would if it were like white muslin or something. And so those are my requirements. Both of these fit all of those requirements. I sized up to a large in this because I wanted to be able to put it on over my head without undoing the zipper. And I didn't want it to be like a fitted bodice. I wanted it to be more smocky. They're both kind of smocky. And I've worn them both several times, and it's just fantastic. I really, really love them. The only thing that has sort of surprised me, or I mean, not surprised me, but I think I didn't anticipate this, even though if I had thought it through, I would have anticipated it, is that the weather got colder. So the really, really hot summer just lasted and lasted and lasted for us in LA. And when I was buying these, when I was shopping for them, picking them out at the end of October, it was still hot every day. And I don't have very many very hot weather outfits. And so that's one of the things that drove me to buy them, because these dresses are both wonderful to wear when it's super hot because they're breezy and flowy. You can just throw them on and you can sweat into them and they don't show sweat stains. That's another thing that I needed these like prints for because I have very sweaty underarms. But midway through November, it suddenly got cold, and it turns out that this house is pretty drafty because it's like a 100-year-old house. And the rooms that Joe and I are occupying aren't even bedrooms. They're like the draftiest rooms in the house. So all of a sudden I was like wearing my slippers all the time, wearing pants, and I pulled out like my warm sweaters and my, I have these pants that are made out of knitted, like they're like slouchy pants, like jogger style, but they're made out of a sweater knit material, just like incredibly warm pants that I purchased when I lived in Michigan. And I haven't had an occasion to wear them at all in California. Like we've gone through the seasons a couple of times since we moved here, and it's always been too warm to wear those pants. But I've been wearing those pants in this house in this season this year. And so that makes it hard to wear that cold, that level of cold inside the house makes it hard to wear these because they're so breezy around the legs and they don't look, well, actually this one looks kind of cute with my chunky slippers. I've worn it that way several times, but it doesn't make me feel the like spryest and sportiest to be wearing sort of like a floaty dress with my big chunky wool slippers or even with socks. So I've been thinking about, basically I wore them and wore them and wore them right when I got them. And then because the weather changed, my desire, I was doing that thing where I would wash them and then as soon as they were clean, I would wear them both like several times in a row until they got dirty. And as soon as they were clean, they would be the first things that I reached for. That behavior kind of dropped off when the weather got cold. I do love the way that both of them look with a big sweater layered over them. And I have also been thinking about trying out wearing them with a fitted long sleeve shirt, like turtleneck layered under them. I've never done that before. I've never really been into that look, but I think I'm going to try it. And yeah, I think I maybe need to reassess my reluctance to wear them with my house slippers or socks, wool socks around the house, because they will work with if I layer them, again, sweaters over or long sleeves under, and slippers or socks and maybe even leggings, they will continue to work as clothes that I can wear through the winter. I'm just doing a little bit of like navigating and negotiating and realizing that they're not like eminently wearable in exactly the same way to exactly the same level the entire year round. But I know that as soon as it starts to warm up even just a little bit, they'll be reinstated to their own positions. And I haven't had even a single moment of regret about these two dresses. They're two of the most expensive things that I've purchased with my budget this year, maybe the two most expensive things. And it pretty much knocked out the rest of my budget with the exception of what I spent on the two sweaters I'm about to show you. And absolutely, I have no regrets, not even the regret of the fact that I couldn't buy those print fresh pajamas when I was buying them for the other people in my family. So let's talk about the sweaters. I have a pretty robust collection of sweaters. I also recently filmed all my sweaters in one video, so you can watch that video if you want to know what all my sweaters look like and how many I have. I think when I filmed that, I had something like 18. I think it ended up adding up to 18, which is kind of a lot for some people. I'm actually kind of realizing that by living with Julia, because I feel like when it's cold, you just wear a sweater every day. Like a sweater is what you wear if it's cold. But Julia only has a couple sweaters, and it might partly be because she's allergic to wool, but she wears a lot of other things to keep her warm, like long sleeve shirts and fleeces and jackets and other kinds of things. I feel like she sees a sweater almost like something slightly formal or more polished, like that you would wear to dinner or that you would wear to work. And I kind of have we had the opposite way of seeing dresses and sweaters. She feels like dresses are casual and sweaters are a little bit of like a polish. And I feel like sweaters are just the most comfortable, casual, best thing that you can wear. So that's fine. I mean, I feel like to each her own, and I'm wearing sweaters the way I want to wear sweaters. That's why I have so many, because I wear them out. I kind of wear them to bits. And actually this year, when we moved, there were some really beloved sweaters that I've had for quite a long time that I've really worn to pieces, like threadbare, very, very pilly, can't be rescued, a little bit too smelly even to be helped with washing or dry cleaning. Like there were some that had really, they had really snuffed it. They'd really kicked it. And I reluctantly let them go when we moved. So I was feeling a little bit of a dearth of like oversized and quite warm, but not super precious, like not like very the finest cashmere. You know what I mean? Not like stuff that you want to dry clean or, things that I could just wash and wear again, but the sweater version of that. And I have this sweater, it's like in the laundry right now, but I have this like oversized sweater from H&M that I got forever ago that I included in my capsule wardrobe, the 10 by 10, and I love it so much. And I was thinking like, I wish I could just have this in a different color, because I really love layering that over dresses. And I was realizing that that's something that I'm like going to be into more. And it was like relatively inexpensive. I wouldn't go and buy it from H&M again now because I'm not really shopping at fast fashion shops anymore. But I was like, if it was inexpensive then, and I was thinking if I could only find it again on the secondhand market, just as inexpensive or more inexpensive because it's secondhand, that would be amazing. So I started looking on Poshmark and I found it. I found the exact same sweater, but in this very, very pale, icy grayish white color. It's a large, just like that one, oversized on me. It feels a little bit like somebody might, the blend is, the blend of fabrics has a bunch of different stuff in it. So it's mostly acrylic, which isn't my favorite because I find that it doesn't hold up well, but it's acrylic and polyamide mixed with wool, alpaca, and elastane. And something about the way that they combine, I've found by owning the first one, has meant that it is very resilient in the wash. And then it just hasn't pilled very much. It hasn't pilled like a lot of sweaters do. So that's part of why I was like on the hunt for another one, because I was like, I can get it for just a couple dollars. And indeed, I think I got this one for like $12 or something. It was used, but it was in really good condition. Like there were no flaws on it. I could just tell it had been washed and worn a couple of times. I think that the previous owner might have washed it in warm water. It hasn't shrunk a ton like the way it would if it were put in the dryer, but it just feels a little bit tighter than mine, and maybe it'll loosen up over time. Either way, perfectly serviceable. It's exactly what I was looking for, and I couldn't have been more delighted to find this on the secondhand market and buy it for like $10 or $12. And as I was looking, because I was searching like H&M turtleneck, H&M mock neck, and then I was putting in like the fabric content and seeing if that would help me find it, and I eventually did find it. As I was looking, I came across this on Poshmark. It's another H&M sweater in a very similar silhouette, in a size large with very similar fabric content. It's not exactly the same sweater. It's a little shorter. It doesn't have that high-low hem, but it was pretty much brand new without tags, I think, or maybe it had just been worn one time, and it was also like around $10. And so I was just like, I'll take a chance on that one as well, because I love this color. I love this like taupey color, and I was hoping that similarly it would be super resilient and could just be a sweater that I could throw on, not worry about getting it dirty, wash, wear, and wash and wear ad infinitum. And it has proved to be that. I've worn both of these sweaters, I think probably as much as I've worn both of those dresses since I got them at the very beginning of November. That's it, y'all. And TBH, it feels like old news to me over here. Because it was a month ago. I mean, it was really a month ago. It also feels like old news to me because I haven't been shopping for anything. I've been very much honoring my no buy, or the fact that I've already spent my whole budget. Again, like I was tempted to buy something, but it was because I was buying gifts and I wanted to like sneak it in, and then I didn't allow myself to sneak it in. But I haven't been out there like making decisions about what I'm going to spend my budget on in January, or thinking about what I wish I could buy. I've even struggled, and I don't know if this is like check-in material. I should maybe wait and put this in my check-in, but I've even kind of struggled to know what to put on my wish list for the holidays this year. And I have also really struggled to find in myself the desire to buy makeup with my channel budget for review, even though I know that that would be good practices. Like that's why I have that budget, because it's healthy for my channel when I do that. I'm either like very deeply sunk into the fact that I'm on a no buy myself, and then I'm having a hard time connecting with that old voracious desire, or even like an old mild desire for things, because I've sort of shut the door because of my own situation with my own budget. Either it's that, or you know, just like a little down, a little low point, a little depression I've been going through that I've mentioned in a couple other videos recently. I think, you know, ups and downs are really normal. This year in particular, the lows can be really low and can be kind of hard to climb out of. And I think a lot of us are struggling with this thing of like, as we approach the holidays, having to finally truly face that it's not going to be the way that it usually is, and that we're not going to get to experience the rituals and like the comforting repetition of what comes around every year. But I think I'm not alone in sort of feeling that ever more acutely as we approach the end of the year. And so that's just, it's made it hard to want a new eyeshadow palette, or like want a sweater, and you know, or a dress or something, because it all just feels like, it just feels like, how could any of those things make up for what we're not gonna get to do, you know, which is like hug my mom and my sister and my dad and like be with them. So I'll talk about that more in my check-in. And I do want to say, I think the check-in might be a little bit delayed, because I don't feel, even though I'm like spilling the beans right now about it, I don't feel really up. I don't feel up for filming it yet. And it's the last one of the year. So I feel like it's okay if it comes in the middle of the month. It's just going to be like end of year check-in, or like last check-in of the year. And I'm filming every day and uploading every day or I'm going to try to upload every day this month. So there'll be plenty of videos, and like when the check-in comes around, it'll come around. It'll be pretty soon, but it might not be quite as close to the beginning of the month as it usually is. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this one. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself today, so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work